In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at two-dimensional arrays. So first off, we're going to import java.util.arrays. So 2D arrays are able to hold more than just a single column of data. They're capable of holding multiple columns. Thus, it creates a grid, and you have these rows and columns. So in arrays, X here, each element stored in a single index and is accessed by a single variable. So x of I, so x of 1, x of 2, x of 3, and so forth. It's like a single column, or you could also think of it as a single row of data. In two-dimensional arrays, you have this. You notice you have those two sets of brackets. And thus, each element is stored in a single index, but is accessed by two variables, your row and column. So here's how we declare a two-dimensional array. Both the row and column size is given. Now, here we've got int x, and it's got both sets of brackets, equals new int 5, 5. This is going to create a row of 0 through 4 and a column of 0 through 4. Now, it's row by column. Row, column. We can initialize and assign individual cells like this. So x of 3, 1, so row 3, column 1 equals 5. Now we can initialize and assign every cell using a loop. So I go from the rows is 0, and it goes to x dot length. Now our rows and columns don't have to be the same length. This one has 5 and 5. But if we don't know the length of each, this gives us the length of how many rows there are, and then to get the column's length, this is how you do it. X of r dot length. In other words, you're getting the length of the row. So this goes through all the columns. So it goes from 0 to the length of our columns. So x of rc, so row, column, equals 10. So this is going to allow me to initialize every single value. Now, maybe we don't want to do 10. Maybe we want to do like a random number or something. But we could assign it to anything. So let's make this do a random number instead. So math.random. Let's do 1 through 10. So there we go. That'll do now 1 through 10. So we don't want this old version here. Now we're going to print a 2D array. We can use the deep toString method, but it looks kind of ugly. This arrays.deep toString of x. Let's see what that looks like. It's not the most useful in this case, because look what happens. It's actually really fairly hard to read because it's going to keep going over and over. If we had a larger array, it would go even further over. But you can see this prints out each individual row. Row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. A better version would be using nested loops. So this is our better version. We're going to go from r to r length, and then go from the column to r's in this row length. And it's going to print out at r and c and then a space, and it'll print a line. So it looks better. It looks better. But we can do an even better version, our best version. We're going to use an enhanced for loop, and then we're going to use the toString method of the array. So our enhanced for loop, note, each row is going to be made into its own array. So x is our two-dimensional array. We're going to get each row from it. So I'm going to create each row as a new array, r. And then I'm going to print off r using the arrays toString method. And so here we go. That prints off each row from the array. And that's the basic idea behind two-dimensional arrays. How we create them, how we can initialize an individual data, how we can initialize all of it at once, and then how we traverse it, how we traverse the rows and columns in a nested loop structure, including how we also do an enhanced for loop using a two-dimensional array that creates for us an array of each individual row. And that is the end of this lesson.